Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. You might have made one going to Tallahassee.
If y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, crossover to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shally-oo, pretty girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Beat the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Buckets. I'm Matt. He's Vish. No Melissa today. She is out there working. Shout out Melissa, though.
She conveniently has a job when we have to do this show.
I mean, she's doing more important things right now. So,
I mean, I think literally everyone on Earth is doing more important things right now. Let's talk about this team. Woo!
Do you want to let's start with the men's, get it out of the way?
Oh yeah, no, I don't even know if there's much. I mean, the women beat Campbell on Friday since we last did a show, but I mean, there's not really much to.
Yeah,
actually,
and that was
you want to do that. You want to do that first because I think the men's one's going to go a lot longer. Or
okay, yeah, I mean, we can do that. Game against Campbell. Was it Friday?
It was Friday. Yeah, 5 p.m. our
middle,
time, so 2 p.m. for you.
Yeah, it was middle of the workday for me. I mean, a few of these games, even the men's games were like during workday for me too.
Yeah, that was workday for everyone. Those first,
for everyone.
Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to fully be into it. The women's game was a little bit more difficult just because of the timing of it. I was really busy at work, but they ended up getting the win. I know Campbell, man, like had moments or stretches where they were shooting the lights out.
The Canes jumped out big early. It was 33-13 at one point, and then it was dicey at the end there. Campbell had some chances. Canes missed a couple of free throws where if Campbell had secured the rebound, they could have shot for the tie at the end, but Daniela Obese muscled the rebound away and laid it in to basically end the game. But yeah, it was definitely nervy there for a bit. It felt like just couldn't put them away. First game this year, the Canes actually second one, but the other one wasn't competitive. Where the Canes missed a bunch of free throws and kind of left Cam on the game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cam had a great game, right? I think it was it 20-7? I want to say.
Oh, Tucker on Campbell. Are you talking about one of their...
Cam on.
Oh, Cam. I think I said Campbell. Cam.
Oh, no.
Campbell had a player that went off too called Tucker who just could not miss. But yeah, Cam Williams had 20-7 on 9 of 10 shooting, made both their free throws. Very efficient. So definitely her best game.
Yeah.
You're there. You're there.
It was good to see for her too because I mean she's had a few games.
In case anyone, wonders why we're a little choppy here, but we're going to power through. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. Am I back? Okay. No, I mean it was nice to see her have that kind of game. You know, she's a skilled low post player. I mean, she's been getting doubled a lot down low, so I mean, I'm sure it's been frustrating and whatnot. So you know, other players have benefited off of that, right? But it was good to see her have this game. You know.
Yeah, and Campbell did kind of play her a little bit more straight up, and she went to work. Really good, like you said, really good post player, and the Canes needed every one of those buckets and the efficiency she brought because the rest of the team kind of after a hot start, rest of the team kind of struggles. 27 points in the first quarter, and then offense kind of ground to a halt. Also, Coach Culp talked about this in her press conference after the previous game. She was worried about legs, the team wearing down. After playing at Florida and then a couple of quick games after that because they're off until Friday, where they host the Thanksgiving tournaments. They'll be doing that Friday, Sunday. So I think she was just trying to manage minutes. If you look, no one played over 30 minutes, but several players are in the high 20s. I think she's basically coming in this game was decided like no one's playing more than. No one's going over 30 minutes with all the games in a short period of time. So I think that probably led to a little bit odd substitution patterns, especially with the big lead at the beginning. I think a lot of it was just, maintenance mode, keep everyone as fresh as possible, rotate heavily, and probably have some players on the court in situations if it's an ACC game where you're kind of in your rhythm of you play Thursday, you play Sunday. You probably don't do it, but I think she was really managing minutes there. I don't think it's coincidental that no one broke the 30-minute barrier, but several kind of got right up to it.
Yeah, and just speaking about like the bench as well, I thought saw a lot of versatility from Lamaya. I think in terms of like ball pressure, I think she's an interesting player just because of the length and athleticism that she provides. So seeing her like at the top of that, like. I don't know if it's like a half court trap, half court zone. I think she can wreak havoc and get us out in transition and whatnot. She hit a few shots too. Did she have 2 threes? I want to say.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So you just see that versatility on both ends of the floor. So I think moving forward, like she's going to be a big piece for us on the bench too. I mean, we always talk about depth and.
Yeah. The women are taking care of business. Oh, we're gonna get to this. We decided we debated actually on the show. We decided to start positive, and then don't worry, we will be.
We will get to the men's.
There's all sorts of stuff to unpack there. Yeah, and we're starting to see just back to Lamaya. Last year that was her game. She was very effective, active defensively. Could hit threes, but also was really good slashing to the hoop. And unfortunately, it was one of those slashes where she tore her knee up and. I think she's finally starting to get
comfortable and
she's starting to look more like she did last year. Because at the beginning of the year, it was great to see her out there, but it wasn't. I think you can see the type of impact she can have. She was a big time recruit out of high school. She's Canadian and went to Arizona. Didn't work out there and she transferred here, but she's got a ton of ability, and you're starting to see that. And I think we're doing a little 1-3-1 trap that she's at the top of. So we mixed up some of those defenses. So she's a huge. I mean, there's a lot of quality potential on the bench as well, and also our 2 freshmen that we've been playing have stepped up. Leah Harmon had probably her best game, and then
Leah was really impressive.
Yeah, and then Anaya Adams had a couple of nice defensive plays, and was trusted to be on the court in the closing situations there. A little bit of trouble with the free throw line for her, but. Just the fact that she's earned that ability to be on the court at the end of games like that speaks volumes.
I think she's almost taken a charge in like every single game.
Yeah, and what I really like about her, though, in addition, like you said, she's tough and she plays really good defense. She knows her role. So she's super aggressive defensively. She forces it because she knows, it doesn't matter if she gets fouls. Like her goal is to go in there and really like amp up the energy and be aggressive, and so she does that. She really plays a role, and that's why she draws charges too. Go for it. I know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna
she's a dog. Let's go.
There it is. If you're playing the match, she's a dog drinking game. Take a drink.
We have to get her on the show, man.
I'm sure we will at some point. So yeah, no, but she's really tenacious, and again, she understands her role. There's no conserving energy or conserving, her fouls or anything with her, because she understands, like, I'm going to be on there for a shorter stint, and I got to make, I'm out there to make things happen. So really,
Yeah.
like the way she's playing and fitting in there, and yeah, coach had her out there at the end of the game. So
yeah. No, and like you said too, Leah had a really good game. But I think her ability to like get to the rim has been like something really impressive. And I didn't realize, we didn't see it as much this game, I don't think, but in previous games, like her passing ability, like that's not something I realized that she was as good at. Like, I mean, there was one play I think it was on a fast break. It wasn't this game. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but she had a like left-handed pass, like lead pass to someone. I was like, that's a tough play to make with your offhand. That was super impressive. So I mean, we're lucky to have some very talented freshmen on this team.
yeah, and I think the cool thing is we have them, but don't necessarily even need them because of all the veteran depth, and they're all pluses, right? And it's just,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on. Like this game, Darion didn't shoot as well, didn't have as much of an impact, and then Lamaya stepped up, like you said, and plugged some of that role. And there's just a lot of weapons, and I think the coaches, that can be a challenge for a coaching staff. They're doing a really good job of, getting the right people in the right position to succeed. Before the year, this might have, I think this was at the ACC tip-off that I was at. They asked, Coach Cullop, hey, how are you scouting? There's all these ACC teams. It's new for her because obviously she came from Toledo. How are you scouting them? And she said, we're not scouting them. We're scouting ourselves, and we're game playing ourselves. And you can kind of see that everyone's really comfortable in what they should be doing. Everyone seems comfortable with their role. Everyone's playing free and loose, and it's making a difference on the court.
Yeah, no, and I think the interesting thing to me too is just from the standpoint of like coaching, like the amount of offensive sets and the amount of different things that we do defensively. Like it's going to be very hard to scout us, just like Coach said when Coach Ivy said when she was on the show. She used to have to scout out Coach Colop's teams when they were competing against each other. It's going to be tough, and I mean, you see why, just the amount of different things they throw at you.
Yeah, and a lot of different ways to win games, to get points. A lot of different lines that they're out there. So it is, it's difficult to play against, and yeah, they are undefeated, 5-0. It's been a good start for the women. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just getting prepared because I know the transition is coming to go to the.
Well,
men,
the transition will be via underdog fantasy, so I'm gonna do that too in the middle here. But yeah, no, the women's team, I think it's gone as well as could possibly be the case so far. I actually look. I mean, the Campbell game did again get a little dicey at the end. Those missed free throws weren't great. Kind of left them in the game. I do think too. There's a natural tendency, but the first quarter of that game was such a clinic, and rotations on defense, ball movement, making the extra pass, the shots were going in, and so that first quarter was, I think they felt like put the game away so they hadn't, and it ended up Campbell got hot, started making a bunch of shots, and I don't know that we were responding, but we just hung on for dear life essentially. Cam had especially in the third quarter, essentially kept that working margin at about 10 points by, repeatedly getting buckets when nothing else is really going in. And then, it could have, I mean, we were obviously very happy at 5-0. And again, I think there was a lot going into this game, including managing minutes and making sure that, no one played too much given the amount of games they played in a short period of time. But we were very close to questioning a whole lot about how that game was lost. So, including, like we mentioned, Coach trusted Anae Adams at the end of the game. She missed a ton of free throws at the end of the game. So
how many did she miss? Because that was the part where
it was 3 or 4 in a row. Hold on, let me her first misses of the year too. So I mean, in theory, it's one of the ones you want on the court. Yeah. So she shot 2 of 5 on free throws for the game. The team shot 9 of 16, which for a team that had been shooting over 80% pretty consistently, 9 of 15 on the game, which is 60%. So it wasn't just her. Jazz missed one, and Baby D missed a couple as well. So there are other good free throw shooters you expect to make free throws that didn't, but yeah, hers came at the end of the game, and yeah, it was like I said, there was. I mean, she missed fouled to kind of put the game away up 3 with what was it, like 10 seconds left, and missed both. But Abis got the rebound and laid it in, so then you win by 5. And yeah, that could have been dicey. Fortunately, it wasn't. So got out of there with the win, but a lot of questions. And again, I think when you win, whatever decisions you make end up being the right ones. And in this case, making those decisions to conserve legs should pay off down the road. You don't want to run the players into the ground this early in the season, and or potentially risk picking up injuries by playing them too many minutes in a short period of time. So it worked out, but it was there were some oddball lineups out there to close the game out. Cam sat a lot of the fourth quarter, I think, again, to keep her minutes down because she played most of it was her and the backups for a lot of the third quarter. So
yeah,
I think. Yeah, so it was a little bit of weird rotations. We think minutes management probably led into some of that, but got out of there with the W, 5-point win. It was the closest game they played this year. Beat the brakes off the UF, so the game wasn't actually close. So this is and just like you said, it's coming now after this ad break. But coming up for the Lady Canes, Charlotte on Friday at noon. Another early morning for Matt here. On Friday at noon in the Thanksgiving tournament they host, and then on Sunday they'll either play Quinnipiac or Southeastern Louisiana at 2:30. So they got a little bit of time off. So Friday after Thanksgiving, then again on Sunday before pivoting to the ACC SEC Challenge and Vanderbilt on December 4th. All right, we're going to play this ad break, and then we're going to get into, I think, what everyone's itching to yell about. We'll do that in a second.
Sounds good.
That bouncing ball can only mean one thing. It's time to hoop. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can play higher or lower on all your favorite players, like Miami's own Tim Hardaway Jr. I love Underdog's Win Now feature, which lets you cash out whenever you want. So join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog. And with their Pick'em game, you could win money by making entries with your favorite players. Download the app today and use code 5REASONS to get up to $1,000 in bonus cast instantly. That's UnderdogFantasy.com and the offer code 5REASONS to get up to $1,000 in bonus cast. That is FIVEREASONS. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY.
We're back.
Yeah, we are back, and yes, for those wondering, I am aware that the Mavericks are up 1 on the Heat with 16 seconds left, and the Heat have the ball. So,
oh no,
me and the network are about to have some beef. I saw the 5 on the floor option at the venue as I was coming in to run this show, and I was like, I could pop in there. And anyway, yeah, let's talk. Canes men's hoop. So Matt, when we last spoke before the tournament started.
Remember? Okay, wait. Can I set this up?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we were talking about how first 2 games, should be a relative ease, like little stress free, and that we would be in a nice matchup with VCU or Nevada. I would just like to say I was right that we were going to be in a matchup with VCU or Nevada. That did happen.
It did. We did. Well, I mean, look, we got onto the court with VCU. Matchup implies some sort of competitiveness. So
yeah.
We basically said, this is a tournament the Canes should win. I think we were the favorite coming into the tournament. The Canes were getting votes in the poll last week, by the way. Just it's not just us. I always like to point that out when it looks like we're being homers, because obviously we are homers. We want the team to do well, but like we were getting votes in the top 25 polls last week, so it wasn't that outlandish to say that maybe the Canes would do well here. But yeah, we thought it would be a disaster if they didn't at least make the final. And yeah, eighth place, and using old Billboard top 25 parlance, eighth place with a downward bullet on this thing. This was ugly. So I mean, just a quick recap. Opened with. Well, do you want to do the recap, or you want me to do it? I'm assuming everyone hasn't been looking at
lagging.
Yeah, I can see that. You're basically showing up
really
like our team. Do you want to hop
you can recap.
All right. Well,
yeah,
so the Canes. While Matt does that, I'll do a little bit of a recapping of the brutality of the Canes trip to Charleston. So 3 games, three losses, none of them competitive. And yeah, it kind of left searching for answers. They all followed the same script, and that way this recap is a little bit easier. So kind of as Matt just messaged me, he will be back in a second. I know everyone loves looking at me full screen here, but we will get Mr. Bridges back in here. He probably doesn't need the recap. I think most of us don't, but opened with a rematch against a rematch from the NCAA tournament for a couple of years ago against Drake. Immediately fell behind, never really got close, and then repeated against Oklahoma State. Immediately fell behind, and then never got close. And then today again, immediately fell behind, and then never got close. I mean, these games were all. It was 7-0, 9-0. 10-2 today, and then that was about as close as it would get for most of these games. I think got down to 6 at one point today. And then I think towards the end of the first half against Oklahoma State, kind of got the lead down, beginning the second half against Drake, but really never got to one possession game, never shot for the tie in this tournament after the opponent, which usually happened within the first minute of the game, opened up a 2-score game. Never got it back to one possession in this entire tournament. I mean, it is one of the god-awful worst performances in school history over a stretch of games. I'm struggling for words on this one, Matt.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to have any positive takeaways from.
I mean, there aren't any. This was atrocious.
Yeah. I was trying to be slightly positive to start this out, but
no, I think we owe. Look, I respect our audience. I think we owe them honesty. Like, this is like, we're not look. If you're looking for us to say fire the coach, bench all the players, like we will talk lineups and rotations.
Yeah, I think there is some changes that.
Yeah, and we will be critical, but we're not going to go into the off there. Like, there's. Again, some of these discussions, people are already having our off-season discussions, not in-season discussions. So, but we are not going to sugarcoat this. This is a disaster. Like, they've kind of ruined the entire season already. No, not only are these 3 losses, but these are again, they're non-competitive, and we can talk about, and Matt certainly did before the tournament, VCU is a really good team. They're picked to win the A10. They'll likely be in the NCAA tournament. Okay. You got blown off the court by them, though. Like, it's not like, and they were in that game because they blew huge leads in their first 2 games and lost, I think, one in overtime, I want to say, but they were all tight. And then we showed up, and then they just killed us. So, like I said, when it's number 8 with a downward bullet, I mean, like, we didn't compete.
Yeah, well, and it's different if you're looking at a 1-game sample size, but this was 3 games of complete just shit. It's so how do I want to word this? It's so ugly. We're never going to be a good defensive team with how we play, right? Like, I mean, I thought that there was room for us to be better this year because of the added size, right? And whatnot. But the rotations have been very slow. There's no helping the helper. I think that I know we're not going to talk about individuals right now. I think that
we will get into it, but I guess
I think there's a couple people that I think that, there's there's definitely a lack of effort from some people on the team, and we can get into that later.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that, but I do think that speaks to a larger issue, right? I know, and I know we're going to talk. Look, we're not going to pull punches. We're going to call out specific players we think are not performing. So
yeah,
but we're going to get to that in a minute, though. We're
just as a team in general.
Yeah, to me, to your point. You come out in the first game, you come out like complete ass. You get blown off the court, you lose by double digits. Mm-hmm. How do you come back and do that 2 more times? There are some really big issues here. Like anyone can have a bad day at the office, like crap, and then we did that 3 times. Like 3 times just didn't show up from the opening tip.
Yeah, no, it was. You would think after you have a game like that you would come out like fired up, ready to play. But to me, like watching us offensively, like the past few years, like since we committed to like small ball, it's a lot of like, you're going to take your guy one-on-one. We have guys that are going to take their guys one-on-one and still like make a shot, even if you play good defense, because we have tough shot makers, right? But like, it's like watching this team, it's like there's not even like an attempt to like create a good shot. I don't know how to describe it. And just the stagnation. I mean, we run like a couple different sets in a game, but like I don't know how to describe it. It's just ugly.
Yeah, no,
there's no rhythm offensively.
Yeah, there's no rhythm or defensively, I would say. I think it's
just talking about the offense right now, though.
Yeah, no, there's no rhythm. It's hard to know what exactly we're trying to do. I think, by the way, I did just see Jimmy Butler hit that shot, and that game's going to overtime now. Good.
Oh, no.
Horrible defense. 4.1 seconds to give up a dunk. Anyway, so Mavs and Heat are going to overtime. No Luka hanging in there. But no, to your point, I don't know what we're trying. I think we're almost going through an identity crisis, right? Because there are times where it's like the ball goes to Lin Kid on every possession. They're like, okay, we get the post-up game going, but it's just so inconsistent. Then there's other possessions where we don't do it, and it's I don't know exactly what the strategy is here offensively. What team we're trying to be at this point?
Yeah. And I think, that's a reflection of, coaching, right? Like,
yeah, no, and one of the things. Look, I didn't expect anything like this to happen over these 3 games, and not just losing 3 games, but playing as poor. Like again, we not only did we finish in last place again, it was by far the worst team there. Like there are 8 teams that went there, and like, well, that team's by far the worst one. It's not even close.
Yeah.
But we did. One of the things we were flagging up after the 3 kind of warm-up games we had leading into this is our rotations were weird, and they did not seem like something you'd use in an actual game. And we kind of did waste 120 minutes of court time that could have been used to work some of this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk individuals. We called it, that Coppin State game. They're terrible, right? And so whatever we did was going to work. And to your point, a lot like, rather than run maybe more of our, what I'm assuming would be our normal offense, was a lot of one-on-one play. And, I can just get to the 10 and lay it in. Okay, that's not really doing us any good, though. Yeah, you're winning that game, but you're not playing Coppin State every week. So I felt like we kind of did mismanage that. And we talked about this before this tournament, like not really happy with the way we managed the lineups in those first few games when there were opportunities to, work out rotation, get guys comfortable playing with each other. Instead, we're doing like hockey line changes repeatedly. Although we did some of that today too, which is a whole other topic we're gonna get into. But that kind of stuff. We're like, realistically, are these guys ever going to be on the court together in a real game? But you're giving them 20 minutes together in this game when you have 3 games of actual. A lot of it felt like, I know this is kind of the way that Coach L tends to manage these early season games. A lot of variability in lineup, a lot of guys on the court, and then he kind of figures it out after that. So we're obviously hopeful that happens, but I do feel like there was a much better way that this tournament goes had we taken the lineups and the rotations in the first 3 games seriously as preparation for what you would realistically play in the game versus, I think what we were trying to do is get court time for a lot of guys and almost doing an evaluation of individuals versus, looking at what lineups do I actually want to play in competitive game situations. And I think a lot of what we saw offensively was guys that hadn't had a lot of court time together because of the way we were subbing in those first 3 games. And all 3 games fell behind early and against teams that just felt better prepared and better able to play.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the defense before we get into individual players? Because the defense is freaking awful.
Yeah, I mean, if we can talk about changes that we would like to see each, I guess. I mean, we have an undersized duo of guards,
right?
Nigel and Jalen. The thing that I love about Nigel is even though he's undersized, he's always going to try to be in the right position, right? He's going to try to stay in front of you. He's going to fight through screens. I can't say that for our other guard. I think, and I've seen it too often in these games, it's been a common recurrence of doesn't fight through screens. And I'm talking about Jalen Blackman, I'll just say it.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't fight through screens. Has gotten backdoored a decent amount. Is late on help in rotations to the point where it's obviously there's an offensive benefit, but I feel like the defensive, breakdowns and whatnot are definitely outweighing the offensive benefit. Because, let's be honest, it's not like he's been torching everyone out there in these past 3 games. I would like to see a change be made.
Yeah, and I would just say this. There was a stretch today where Jaleel showed why he was a top 10 recruit. And he flashed that. He hit 2 really tough shots. He was playing good defense. And he made a really nice pass to Brandon Johnson, who unfortunately fumbled it under the basket. And you're like, oh, this is a different, and you can kind of see those flashes of, hey, this is a higher caliber basketball player. And again, I hate to keep beating a dead horse. You gotta wonder how much of a rhythm it'd be, and if he had played in the first 3 games and gotten the court time needing to build up into that, and it just didn't happen, and now it's almost too late. Yeah.
Well, and to me, you're in a position, in my opinion, where you've seen what you've seen in 6 games, right? Wait, 6 games, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 3-3.
To me, I'm playing Jaleel I'm starting Jaleel, and I'm playing him because, you would think over the course, based on what he's shown in very fine glimpses, I know that it hasn't just been overwhelming positives, but you'd like to think that the 5-star recruit is going to improve over the course of a season, and that the potential of this team, the ceiling is higher when that happens, right? I have been impressed. I think he does get lost off ball sometimes, but I think his on ball defense is pretty good because of his athleticism and his frame. But that's something I would like to see.
Yeah, I think the other, and just speaking generally, I agree with you on Jalen Blackman, who was benched for a significant chunk of this game, then was on the court at the end.
Yeah, it looks like everyone was benched though. I didn't watch.
Yeah, no. There were large periods. I think Matthew didn't play the entire second half. Joe Bay had one of the worst stretches of basketball we've seen from him in the first half, and still got out there in the second half. There doesn't appear to be any rhyme or reason to it. Austin Shorts got a big chunk of playing time today. Was better defensively, which is I think why he was out there, but he struggled with his shots. Divine came in, made a layup in an open corner 3, and then after that was essentially just, I felt, forcing everything in the paints, trying to get to the rim, and Vistu was kind of wise to that. He is definitely a I'm gonna get my shot up player, so that's his game at this point. So I don't understand. Johnson Arrigu got in there. The game we did have the game was. It was I believe a 7 or 9 point game or something. We kind of hanging around there, and then he went with Lynn Kidd and 4 freshmen, and VC went on a 9-0 run and blew the game open. And I honestly am not sure what's going on, because it doesn't appear that we have established any kind of role for anyone on this team, any kind of rotational consistency, and it also doesn't necessarily feel like good play is leading to more court time or bad play is leading to less court time. It is kind of like, let me see if this works. And today was especially, and I understand it's 3 games in 4 days, but they didn't play yesterday. So everyone's legs should have been at least okay. So I don't necessarily think it was that. It just, honestly, it felt like maybe this will work. And I think there's a problem with treating actual games as preseason games.
Yeah.
And we're 3-3 now, and we're very much staring 4 and 6 in the face, because after Charleston Southern on Saturday, it's Arkansas, Clemson, and Tennessee in a row. So, this is not good.
No. So
the JB reference here is Jalen Blackman. I don't know if you want to take this.
Oh yeah, no. To me, based on what I've seen, to me, not fighting through screens, not being engaged. To me, it's effort based. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and part of it could be, and maybe not basketball IQ is maybe not the right phrase, just uncomfortable. I don't think anyone's comfortable right now. And you don't play well when you're not comfortable. Now, that's not an excuse for not fighting through screens. As Matt said, you should be doing that. But, when you're not comfortable, you don't play well. I don't know what any of these kids' roles are. We've watched, 240 minutes of this team play. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of hard to scout us.
Yeah.
than the women are doing. It's just like, maybe they'll put this guy in. Randomly, what was it against Oklahoma State where Basama came in? And she's like, what's happened here? What's going on here? And so, at some point, you just look. The only way that the season is going to turn around at all is you got to get the talent on the court, and the talent. What you can love or hate these players, or love or hate, the position we're putting them in, or whatever. It is Nigel, it is Jaleel, it is Matthew Cleveland, it is Brandon Johnson, it's Lynn Kidd. Those are your 5 best players. They need to be on the court as much as possible. Stop with this guy's giving me this, that. No one's giving you anything. And by the way, as fans, we're obviously critical, and people are saying, we need to try this, or put this guy at point guard, or whatever. First of all, Nigel was the point guard on a team that went to the Final Four. So if you're coming in here with he can't play point guard, I don't think that's the problem, buddy. Like, it is.
Well, it's just like the stupidest argument, because of like what are we don't have, like, we don't run these traditional offensive sets where like we have this point guard that's just going and making all these passes off reads and stuff. It's, we need guys that are creating shots for themselves. And that's what Nigel does at an elite level. And I mean, who else is there? But
and that's the thing. So, but I do think the one thing Coach L demonstrated today is he put your pet project in there. If you've been bagging on, why is Matthew play? He sat the whole second half. How'd that work out for you? put the talent on the court. Like at some point, it's enough of this. Like Jaleel got benched for a lot of this game. You know, he's tried the let me try the other guys. It didn't work. It was worse. Just get the most talented players in the court. They actually do have positional balance when you do that, and just play it through. Like I understand Divine has he's shown some stuff in terms of getting to the 10. He's also, I mean, you could see why he was too talented to redshirt, and also why they were going to redshirt him all at the same time, because like he's not playing within the flow of the offense at all. When he gets the ball, he's going to the hoop and he's going to shoot it. And VCU figured that after one possession, and they blocked him several times. He got bailed out another one where he tripped over his own feet, and they called a foul on them. Like, they're just like, well, this guy's not going to pass. And so, again, when you do it against Coppin State, yeah, you can go lay it in, literally score 7 points in 2 minutes and get player of the game at the end of the game, which was absurd. But when you do it against better competition, they're going to adjust to that. And so you have to think about look, again, it's a 40-minute game. You can get 30-plus minutes out of your starters, and your starters need to include Jaleel instead of Jalen Blackman. And that's just the reality where we're at right now. And if you get 30-plus minutes out of them, you have a really good collection of talent on the court for a majority of the game. And that's just a matter of getting them court time, getting them comfortable playing with each other. But yeah, I mean, this is part of it too, right? We're not. I mean, look, we got this is why we're saying it's a global problem, right? It's the amount of offensive rebounds we gave up, especially against Drake. That was one of the reasons we lost that game. So yeah, no, there's effort issues across the board, but it's also just the lineups are. I mean, there were. I mean, I didn't have a chance to go back and look, but there were several times there where I looked at the court and I was like, I don't think these 5 players have played together this year. And we're in the 6th game, and all of a sudden you put them in for a 5-minute stretch and like lose 10 points, and you're like, who could have seen that happening? Yeah. So I think lineup. I mean, also too, a lot of it too,
defensively too, is how much we're fouling.
Yeah, no, but to me that's also effort. We're not moving our feet. We're reaching a lot.
I think we're like, I was looking at it in free throw attempts per game. We're like 250th or something, like around that number out of 360 teams. But yeah, and then also too, like the other thing as well, like we're not forcing like any turnovers as well, and that's all effort based as well. I mean, because we were a team that, I mean, especially like Elite 8 run, Final 4 run, like during those runs, we were forcing turnovers. We might not have been the best defensive team, but we were forcing turnovers, and that would help our offense in transition because no one was going to run with us.
Yeah, again,
but we're not doing that at all.
Well, we also, I don't know that, well, but so, and this is where it goes into what you're talking about at the top, right? In terms of we have like an identity crisis.
Yeah.
So, like Lynn Kidd's an actual center. He's not gonna, that some of the stuff we were doing before, like the scramble ball on defense, just isn't gonna work. He's not gonna be able to do that. So
for sure.
So you got to adjust what you're doing, and I don't think but again, it's hard to
say. But also, teams are
know.
Shooting like a higher percent against us too, as well.
Oh no, I mean? that's my
Which
point though. Like, I don't know that we've adjusted or that I mean, honestly, because I'm not sure what we're trying to do, so it's hard to say whether or not we've adjusted. It is really a lot of, I don't know, like you were saying, like our defensive rotations are really bad. We were leaving everyone open for 3.
Yeah,
today. Like there was not very little resistance put up.
And I know we've named like a handful of people, but this is on everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
did send the tweet to kind of wrap up the tournament. I was like, no one played well. No one.
Yeah, like Brandon Johnson, like I think we've talked, like he's been a dog, like he's been our best rebounder, but also like he's turned the ball over more than anyone on this team probably, and then he's not shooting well from 3 at all. I think I don't even know what percentage wise, but I mean, he's also not looking to shoot enough.
Yeah, and we had at least 1, maybe 2 shot clock violations where several players just passed up, like shoot the damn ball, and one of them, Coach O, really like lost it on the bench. Well, anyway, the other thing is, and this is, I don't. Other than Lynn Kidd, these transfers are not coming from major programs and big conferences, and we did get a little bit. We mentioned Blackman running through screens. Probably easier to do those sorts of things with Stetson, and you're not facing the same caliber athlete. And Stanton McRae's coming from Samford. Brandon Johnson is, these are not, they're not coming from having to play, and we haven't even gotten to the meat of the schedule yet. So
yeah, well,
but like you do wonder if maybe some of these portal guys we probably missed. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
And I mean, the other thing too is like, I mean, I don't know what was communicated to him, but Jalen Blackman came from a team where he was the guy offensively. So I mean, he wasn't really looked at as like, all right, like you need to be playing defense every possession. Where he comes here, he's what option offensively? He's not the number one option. It's like you got to be able to guard, especially at this level too. And I mean, so
yeah, and so that might be a bit of an adjustment, or it might be again. We assume that when you go into the portal and get guys that have been playing in smaller conferences, that their game will at least somewhat translate. And I agree with you. Brandon Johnson's been very active on the boards. He's playing tough, but some of the turnovers and the hesitating to shoot might be related. Just, all right, you got to understand, like, you're not going to be as open. You got to shoot it anyway. I would say he's probably translated the best from, like you said, Jalen Blackman really appears to be struggling with a lot of the games. Stanton McRae has faded over the last couple of games. I thought he was doing a better job earlier in the season, at least defensively. That's kind of come away too, which is really problematic because that was, we might have had differing opinions on how much he should be playing. We were both like, he can defend. He hasn't been defending this week. But you can't. But I think in his defense, you can't defend as one player. You have to defend with five, and we just don't have a cohesive defense.
Yeah.
I still don't know what we're trying to do offensively or defensively. Like, I don't know what the plan is.
Same.
And if we're trying to run the same stuff, to your point, that we did the last few years, that's not going to work with this personnel at all.
Yeah, I've seen us run probably like, and this, I mean, I'm just a high school basketball coach, I've seen like 2 different offensive sets, but yeah.
Well, it's okay. So, so it's not pretty out there, and look at the schedule. It doesn't look like it's going to get that much better.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So we have another like cupcakey game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see happening like rotation wise in this? Do you think we see any change?
What do I think he's going to do, or what would I do?
No, this is like what you think is going to happen. I already know what you were going to do because I think he's talked about it. But
I think he's going to roll the same starting 5 out there. And I think we're going to see Divine be the first guy off the bench again. And the same thing we've been saying. I don't think he's going to change anything. I think we're going to have a mishmash of guys out there, weird lineups, random guys coming in, eating a lot of minutes, no minutes tied to actual performance. I think we're going to see the same thing we saw for 6 games.
Cool. That's what I think too.
I mean, part of this, again, not that we thought the team was going to be 3-3 having played 3 non-competitive games in Charleston, but we even in the offseason we talked about this with Jaleel, right? Like well, Coach L's definitely not going to start a freshman. Mm-hmm. And we never really bothered to even and we were right, and he's not doing that. We never really went that next level of basket. Like, why?
Yeah.
And also, okay, then what's the plan here? Because before the year I said this was a low floor, high ceiling team. This is below where I thought the floor would be, to be honest. But there's no ceiling at all like you're just beneath our dirt if you don't get Jaleel 30 minutes a game as a like. There's not enough talent on this team. Like I understand we went to the Portland, got a lot of guys. You know, the only major like top level like okay, might be one of the better players at his position guy we got was Jaleel. Like these other guys they're good, they're serviceable. You know, that's their reputation coming in. We're kind of learning about them now. Again, it's only 6 games, a lot of time for them to adjust and show more of their game. But you know, if we were coming in there thinking like Stat McRae was a 30-point, like no, it had to be Jaleel though. So I don't understand what the plan is.
Yeah.
There was no one else on this team that's going to do what he's capable of doing. So
Yeah.
the plan had to be get him minutes, and get him out there. And it's just, we've done the opposite. He played less minutes than Austin Shorts did.
Jeez. Can I read some defensive stats right now? Like some.
Yeah, and then Parrish threw one in the chat just to get you started here with the 200th
Okay.
scoring.
So we're 213th in defensive efficiency. Average possession length, so how long like teams are on offense against us, we are 328th out of 300. So these are all out of 364 teams in Division I basketball. We are 234th in effective field goal percentage, which is at 52.5. So teams are shooting 52.5% against us. We're 288th in forced turnovers defensively. So not forcing any turnovers at all, and teams are shooting 53% against us. We are 84th in offensive rebound percentage at 26.6. So that's actually higher than I think it has been in the past.
Wait, that's us getting offensive boards or giving them?
No. That's the defense like allowing offensive rebounds.
It felt so much worse than that.
Yeah, no, it was like,
and it's by percentage too, so it's off of missed shots.
So yeah, so 2023 it was 28.8. So it is a little lower, like marginally, but I mean also too, like you have to factor in that we played 3 cupcake teams, so that number, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
is probably worse. And then this is the one that's like free throw attempts, because we've always been a team that like, I mean, this number is always low. Like we were 18th in 2023 in free throw attempts, right? At like, how many attempts was it? 24 attempts per game. We're allowing 37 attempts per game so far this year, and we're 240th. And then, I mean, there's
that's
some
an
other
insane number.
Yeah, no, that's the glaring like number. That's terrible.
Is that accurate? 30.
That's what it says.
37 a game.
Unless this is rate. I thought
That's almost one. But I mean, rate. That's almost 1 a minute.
Let me see. Where did it
30,
go?
37 a game is essentially 1 a minute.
I mean, Drake shot. Let's see. Shot 28 free throws against us.
That 37 can't be right.
I think it's rate.
Rate
They
to
shot
what?
21
Rate to what though?
Let me see. Hold up real quick.
It would have to be like almost per 48 to get up to that number.
It probably is per 48. Where is it?
Just really confused in basketball, college basketball. Let's do a per 48 on this thing. Either way, we're giving up so way too many free throws. It's bad.
Yeah, either way.
Too.
Yeah, it's free throw rate. I don't know what it is per.
Anyway, that is he's 240th. You said out of what 319? That's
no, out of 300 out of 364. All those
364.
Were out of 364.
Okay. Now keep in mind that three of our games were against like non-entities, so we've somehow managed to essentially do that in 3 games with getting 6 freebies. I mean, 3 freebies. So it's just yeah, no, it is. So I guess we're sitting here on what, November 24th.
I didn't think it was gonna be this early.
This is early. This is early. Last year at this time we were rolling and thinking about we hadn't even won that Bahamas tournament.
There you go.
Yet,
Parrish has it. Free throw attempts.
170th and 20.4.
But also too, the thing you have to realize, Parrish, if you can find it for 2023. I'm guarantee it's significantly lower because we would always play good defense without fouling. Not play good defense, but we wouldn't foul.
Well, but I mean, to your point, what are we even trying to do? Because we're fouling and we're giving up open shots. On offense, we're turning it over. We're taking stupid shots. Like, we're not rebounding well. Like, what exactly are we? Because you're right. In 23, the defense wasn't great, but we weren't fouling. Like, we were trying to. Okay, we're going to try not to put them on the line. I don't know what's the plan here. And I guess what I was going to when I kind of paused.
Well, and the other thing too, like in 23, it's like you're gonna play to our pace, right? So like you might get some easy open looks, but we're gonna force turnovers, right? Like we're gonna force turnovers. We're gonna get out in transition. I mean, that's not what we're doing now. So it's an identity crisis, just like you're saying.
Does Coach L think it's a crisis? What do you think? What do you think his? All right, I'm going to be blunt here. We look uncoached and unprepared thoroughly. So what is happening here? And again, if you want to say fire the coach, go to another show. We're not doing that here. But I mean, look, I have plenty of. Obviously, we should all have respect for the man and what he's done at this school. And the amount of success he's had, and has had success with slow starts. I mean, again, we pretty much have never played that bad in a tournament ever. But a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, we made the Elite Eight. We had a very bad preseason tournament as well, where Dayton blew us out, and it wasn't pretty.
Alabama too.
Yeah, I guess my question is what do you think Coach L is thinking right now, having witnessed this? What do you think is obviously? I don't think he expected this either, but I do think he has a higher tolerance for early season, this kind of stuff, because it's part of his method for getting the team to gel. But where do you think his headspace is at right now after watching this, and especially lost the last 10 games in last year? And now you're coming in.
I mean, I would hope that he's thinking of like, how do I adjust to my personnel? I mean, last 3 games haven't gone our way. What can we be good at? Like back in 2023, we have really good guards. Let's play small. No one can guard us. These guards individually. I mean, I don't have an answer of what that is with this team, because I mean,
I do.
6 games.
But I think the frustrating part is, as our fans are saying, well, bench this guy, and Matthew Cleveland shouldn't play, and Nigel Black shouldn't play point guard. We have yet to see any kind of consistent play with our 5 best players on the court for an extended period of time. He hasn't tried that yet, which would seem to be the first thing you'd try. Like, hey, why don't we throw Nigel, Jaleel, Matthew, Brandon Johnson, Lynn Kidd out there for like 6 minutes in a row and see what happens. Let's go for it, man. Let's put our best players on the court and see what happens. We've tried not doing that. It hasn't worked. Maybe we try that. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic. We actually have not done that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of the place you start to, because you're right. It's not a situation. Well, I think this is part of the frustrating thing, right? It's not the team that made the Elite Eight, like you said, where he kind of switched over to small ball. He was looking at the roster and where were we stronger? It was at the guard position, right? And that's when Jordan Miller actually started starting. Was part of that transition, but we had Charlie Moore and McGusty and Isaiah Wong. He was like, well, let me get this other guy on the court too. And Wardenberg was a stretch big, and so he's like, we're just gonna play this way, and it worked. I think the frustrating thing here is if you do a similar analysis, they actually just fit position wise. Like Matthew Cleveland is one of the better small forwards in the ACC. Nigel Pack is one of the better point guards. Jaleel Bethea was a top 10 recruit at shooting guard. Yeah, Lynn Kidd is starting in the ACC for multiple ACC programs. You brought in Brandon Johnson to start at the 4. So like you're not even having to be like, ooh, do we really want to put like three of whatever on the court this time. Now it's just like, just put them in their positions.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons we were a little bit more optimistic for this year's team versus last year was not necessarily a talent upgrade other than Jaleel. Because look, we knew we lost Nor Chad, we lost Wooga. You know, those are nothing to like. Those were key players off a Final Four team, but we thought, well, it'll get us closer to players playing in their position, a more traditional roster, which it might be time to go back towards.
Yeah.
But he's not playing it. So
we have to see what happens this game. I mean,
the Charleston Southern game is going to be a walkover, and then it's going to be, and you know.
Yes, but how does he treat the rotations after what's happened?
I feel like I'd be pretty.
It's the same
surprised.
shit, different day. Then I mean.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating because obviously it's something that he's disappointed in, and you know he'll be looking at. I guess in my mind, there's always, you know, there's different ways to address what's going on. You know, we from the outside that can't see what's happening in practice, can't see what's happening day to day, can't see what's happening film study. You know, we're going to immediately go to rotations and substitutions because that's overt. You can see it. Oh, hey, this guy is starting instead of that guy. Is an obvious switch when, you know, something else they could do is, oh, we're going to run, you know, 75% of the play through Lynn Kidd or something because we want to play inside out because we've been trying to, you know, have Nigel create and it's not working. Or what? I'm just making that up. I have no idea. I haven't done a film breakdown to know if that would work. But those things tend to be a little bit more subtle. You would probably pick on them. I don't know that I would, but so I think we generally go to roster, like substitution pattern changes are obvious and overt. So we're hoping we'll see those, but obviously he could not have sat through these 3 games and be like, oh yeah, if we just keep doing this is going to work. Because again, it's not, if we had lost the way VCU did their first 2 games, I would be open. Okay, they had big leads. They blew them. You know, they lost close games. One was in overtime.
Yeah, we just didn't make a few shots.
I could see them be like, look, we stick with this. We're almost there. We weren't competitive. I cannot stress enough how bad the blowouts. The games were over immediately. I mean, and you know what? The other thing is, I mean, you picked up on this immediately because we have obviously a Buckets group chat going, and you know, it did not. I forget exactly what part of the Drake game it was, but at one point you put in there, it was like, oh my god, we're just bad, and you know, it was obvious that we were bad. It wasn't like it was, and you know what? It wasn't we're playing bad. It was no. This is a bad look at. We're bad, and it never got better over 3 games because we are bad. So it doesn't need like microsurgery. It needs like a complete replacement surgery. Like this is not going in there and scoping the knee out. This is knee replacement. Like we're a bad basketball team, and it was, you know, as much as we were confident coming into the tournament, you know, we said this is the first time we're going to see them against real competition, and it took, I want to say 5 minutes into the first half for you to just like, you know what, we're not good at basketball, and that's where we're at right now. It's just a bad basketball team. I know you had kind of mentioned this in our group chat. I'd mentioned this on Twitter. At this point, like it would probably, you know, based on, again, 6 games in, a lot of ball left, all that, be surprising if they made the ACC tournament the way they're playing. The last 3 teams don't make it, and it's hard to imagine there are 3 worse teams than this in the conference.
Yeah. Yeah. When is the next game against Charleston Southern?
It's on Saturday, so they got a week to prep for it.
Yeah.
And they need it. So yeah, I'm hoping, again, like you said, I'm hoping to see something different. And I'm hoping to see, and this is where the frustrating thing comes in, right? Because as much as, you know, we're frustrated by the rotations, the play of the team, as Matt, you know, as you said, and I obviously concur with, it's not a good basketball team. I don't know what universe you get there to any kind of reasonable quality of team without Jaleel Bethea playing a ton. It's enough already. Whatever the hell mind game. The plan could not possibly be Jaleel's going to give us 10 minutes a game this year. That could not have been the plan. And I know, Coach did the same thing with Lonnie Walker. We'd mentioned on a previous show. That team ended up obviously losing on a buzzer beater to Loyola. Also, Bruce Brown was injured and out, which probably would have changed the outcome of that game in history, maybe. I mean, probably wouldn't have been in that game because it would have been a higher seed. But that ever, in hindsight, because eventually Lonnie came good. We wasted a lot of his year here with him like coming off the bench, not getting a lot of minutes. And again, we all just accepted that. We accepted coming into this year. We had this discussion, and not to demean any schools, but like we have the highest recruit we've ever had as a program, and to all three of us, you, myself, Melissa, we all agree. Well, he's not starting. They're going to start the dude from Stetson. And why? Why do we have to just live with it? I mean, I guess we have to live with things. Coach L's the coach, and frankly, he's a Hall of Famer, and he knows what he's doing much more than we do. So, full benefit of the doubt generally. But this idea that, Coach L just doesn't, start freshmen immediately. They got to earn their way onto the court. We have no time for that. Put his ass out there. I want to see him. Terrence is saying 28 minutes a game. I want more than that. Play him 30, 35. I just and that'll solve your Jalen Blackman getting too many minutes. Yeah, have him be a scorer off the bench, right? You're not worried as much about his defense then because he's not. You get found out a lot more defensively over extended stretches of time too, and yeah, let him be a scoring option off the bench. He can do that role. But there could not have been a way that the season played out where they felt that Jaleel was not going to play 30-plus minutes. Eventually.
Yeah.
I just cannot believe that's – because he's gone after this year. He's going to be a lottery pick. And frankly, if you're familiar with how the NBA drafts, whether Coach L plays him or not.
Yeah.
He'll go camp anyway.
Unless Coach L is just going to play him 15 minutes a game.
He would still – there's still a chance he gets – because they draft on potential.
Yeah.
And especially if the team is as bad as it is. It'd be like, what's the dude doing? He screwed you. It just takes one. Look, someone's going to look at his tape and be like, nope, we're going to draft that kid. He's got the upside. You know how the lottery pick is. You look for the next – they don't look for like the sure thing. They take the risk there because you got to hit the home run. But in any event, like at least the expectation is Jaleel's going to be in the draft in a few months. And so what if you're going to maximize his time here? How could it not be to get him on the court? Yeah. No offense to like Austin Schwartz or Jalen Blackman or AJ Staten McRae, but like, what are you kidding me? And yeah, it's easier for me to say that with the results too. It's like this is winning us games. It's not. So there's also an element of might as well. But I'm not even taking that stance because I just think you got to put them on. Look, eventually to reach your ceiling as a team, your most talented players have got to gel together and play together at a high level, and he's definitely one of those. Well, I mean, we've had these discussions offline, but Coach L is a Hall of Fame coach. He's going to do what he's going to do, and we as a program have benefited a lot from that. It's not always orthodox. Like I don't think anyone else would have gone to this, like you said, the small ball lineup, which ended up getting us to an Elite Eight and a Final Four, right? I mean, so we've certainly benefited a lot from that. But if his attitude is that when we bring freshmen in, they are automatically going to come off the bench. They are not going to start early. They're going to have to ease their way in. He should not be going for top 10 in the country players. You don't have to. No one made him. If you're recruiting McDonald's All-Americans, you got to play them. Just like if you draft someone in the top 10 of the NBA draft, they got to get on the court.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it. Otherwise, you should trade the pick. And I did. Anyway. Yeah, I would be surprised if we see something change for Charleston Southern, to be honest, in terms of, I mean, I was kind of wondering if we'd see a new starting five today. We didn't. And we did see the rotations change quite a bit. He put more of the younger players out there. Honestly, if it's me, and I'll get your take, obviously we both kind of agree on maybe what the starting five should be and kind of where the majority of the minutes should be. But in terms of rotation beyond that, I'd give some time to Blackman, some time to Stat McRae. It's kind of, I mean, at this point, I hate to do this. Like I've seen Joe Bay play. He's just, I mean, it's one poor. He's improved a lot of his game, but it's just the decision making has been atrocious. And
yeah,
he took 3 shots in like 2 minutes today and went back to the bench and somehow got back in the game to throw up some more garbage. I think you gotta. I want the guys coming off the bench to be a little bit more under control, which is why I'm leaning on. You know, I do think Blackman, Stat, and McCray are more able to play within the flow of the team. I don't think Divine is, but at this point, but he does give you something different, so maybe some minutes to him. But and then you rotate, you know, Lynn Kidd, Brandon Johnson at center, which is what we're doing anyway, because we don't have another except for that weird Basama cameo. And then you slide Matthew over to the 4 when Brandon Johnson is playing center. I think I shortened this rotation. Today he expanded it a lot. Johnson Arrigu played a lot. He basically tried to get something to work, and none of it did. Obviously, is the result. And the experimental lineups did worse than the normal ones, which isn't great. But I think he's got to shorten the rotation. I think we're playing too many guys too.
Yeah.
What does your rotation look like right now? If you were coaching the team,
I think it's exactly what you just said. I don't trust. I mean, I have trust. I don't know. I'm rolling with the same. I mean, you said Jaleel starting at shooting guard, right?
Yep.
I'm rolling with that, and then I think it's just Blackman, AJ Stat, McRae, and I mean,
I would give Divine a little bit of time, but not a lot.
Yeah, I would say
time.
Divine sometime. Yeah, I'd say give Divine some time, and then I don't know. Besides that, I think that's kind of it.
Well, I think part of it, like Austin Schwartz gave some, especially defensively, some solid minutes today. But part of this again is how are you actually planning on winning games like the ACC and stuff? It cannot be playing 10 guys, 20 minutes each or whatever we're trying to do.
Yeah,
it's got you got to get the minutes got to go to the money players, and Schwartz is probably a year away from that. So I could see him taking Blackman's minutes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. But to me, any solution to whatever we're doing that does not involve Jaleel getting a significant increase in his minutes, to me, is problematic because that's got, and not because I think you owe him, like he's a 5-star that came here obviously expected to play more than he has been. I don't think that's really a leap to assume that. But I don't think you owe him anything than that other than an honest assessment of why he's not on the court and things for him to work on. But if you look at this from a team level, again, there's no way Steve is even decent if he doesn't come good. And you got to give him the opportunity to do that. And I think with more court time, you'll start to see, more from him too.
Yeah, you'll see more consistency too because you see flashes of.
Yeah, today he definitely flashed it. Like there was a stretch there. It was like, oh, here we go. This is what we recruited. All right, this makes sense now. And then, back to the bench he went. Yeah, it's ugly out there, folks. It is ugly. It's only November 24th.
Oh God.
Okay, so we'll end on, as we kind of wrap up here. We'll kind of end on this. So it's November 24th, like I've said multiple times. Where do you think the season goes from here?
Oh my God, dude.
Without you don't
mean,
get into
what am I-
specifics, like do you think there's gonna look all right? As bad as this week was, we will win more basketball games this year. We're not gonna go winless in the ACC either. There's gonna be so that's not what I'm not like getting that low. Just like, do you think we'll forget making the tournament, not making the tournament, forget all of that type of stuff? Just overall, do you think we get to the point where I don't even know, turnaround might even be too strong a word than what I'm asking for from where we are now. But just like where we are playing more consistently, where the lineups feel clean, like where you kind of know, because we both have agreed, I don't know what we're trying to do offensively. I don't know what we're trying to do defensively.
Okay, so like,
Do you
is
think
there
we
going to
come
be
out of
like
that-
a change where we have more of a solidified?
Well, yeah.
identity?
Well, do you think, like, let's say we're in January and we're like, do you think we'll have like an identity? We'll feel maybe we just aren't, because again, like, as much as we're saying, hey, we need to see this, we need to see that. At the end of the day, we did pull in a lot of recruits from non-major conferences, and a lot of transfers. I mean, maybe some of them just aren't going to contribute the way we wanted them to, and it is very possible we are down on talent, right? We're assuming we're not. It's like, oh, we got all these guys, but maybe they're not. The reality of it is playing at Stetson and Stanford is not playing in the ACC. And
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case, obviously, but do you think they get to a point where, like where BC was at the end of last year? Like, they still didn't make the tournament because they'd ruined their season, kind of like we just did. But, at the end of the day, you knew they were going to play through Quinton Post. They had, God, I forgot his name. The dude is on Clemson now that roasted us,
Zachary.
Yeah, they were going to play inside out. They had an identity, and like, all right, you knew what they were doing. Like, they kind of gelled as a team. And you could be like, hey, you know what? BC's playing some good basketball right now. Do you think we get a stretch where we're like, all right, things are coming together? You're expecting 10-8 from Lynn Kidd, and Jalil's going to get his, and Nigel's going to knock down threes. Do you kind of have a rhythm there? Like, do you think we ever kind of feel comfortable with the way the team is playing? I'm not even putting the expectations of, like, doing anything of substance. Just like that, I'm putting a very low bar here.
I'll be somewhat hopeful. I think so. But to me, that all comes down to coaching, right? Like, we've talked about it numerous times. There's no consistency with rotations. These guys haven't played together. Our starting five hasn't played together that much. Or I'm sorry, not our starting five. Like what me and you are projecting.
the
moving
starting
forward.
five that we want.
Yeah, the starting five that we want hasn't really played together at all. So that's why I'm hesitant. And then I'm like, do we even see these changes? He has to make some sort of adjustment. I would say more so on defense in terms of like, that's where the no identity really hits, because like, I don't know what we're trying to do. Like, we're not trying to force turnovers, get out in transition. We're, not like sitting down, guarding, playing good half court defense. There's so many miscommunications. Like, I don't know. That's going to be the biggest factor for me, in my opinion. And I don't know. There's just so much unknown, man. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's like that's so early for the season to kind of implode that these conversations are. That's why it's way too premature to even say like what is the, what's the long term. It's 6 games in. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. So it's too early. But again, Charleston Southern, then 3 really tough games in a row. Like we're very much staring 4 and 6 in the face. Something you got to, yeah, no, I would say that, but I would also, we came with I thought we might see a lineup change today and we didn't.
Yeah.
So again, it's hard. We're not inside the locker room. So I will say this: there is no way. I would say even after just the Drake game on Thursday, that the coaches looked at this and said, "Oh no, this is great. We're going to keep."
Yeah.
They obviously tried to make changes, and we did see some different players. The minutes distribution certainly changed over the course of the weekend. It just, not it didn't work, and again, we're kind of just, if Jaleel is what we think he should be playing a lot more. It's not like a complicated concept for us, but execution of it on the coach's side is more complicated than us just saying do this. So I'll give them the benefit of that on that. But there is no way that they're watching this, like, oh no, this is good. We're gonna keep doing the same thing. The question is, what changes do they make? How quickly do they take hold? Do they work? All of those things are factors. It's 6 games this season. Is way too early to be like, well, this is done. But it's a little bit late in the season for them to, okay, we got to start over here. But they kind of have to start over here. So, I don't know. We'll see what that starting over looks like.
Yep.
Starting on Saturday. Yeah, slow starts killed us, but I think we're also just not good. No, not to be like, but I wasn't trying to be, as I was saying, I was like, well, this is going to sound like sarcastic and Matt's going to start laughing. But it wasn't that, but like we've played very few good stretches even after that. The slow starts post behind the 8 ball, but then, we never put together, even when we go on a run, it would be after the lead ballooned further. Like today we had that, 9-0 run to cut to 7. I mean,
yeah.
We are a D1 college basketball team. Like, you're going to go on runs eventually. But that the slow starts have certainly not helped. But, over the course of 40 minutes, we're paying maybe 5 to 10 good minutes a game the last 3 games. And that's just not enough. So it's kind of the whole thing. So we'll see. Yeah, again, there's no way the coaches are looking at me like, oh, this is great. We're going to keep doing this. But, what does different look like? How does it work? First of all, and if it is working, like how quickly will it get to take hold? Because we got Charleston Southern next Saturday, and then quick within a 7-day stretch, Arkansas, Clemson, Tennessee. So I think if we play those games right now, we have a pretty good idea how they go. So they got 2 weeks to change that.
Yep.
And one game to kind of work on things. So. We'll see, but yeah, it's hard to be optimistic about anything. And if you have postseason hopes beyond the ACC tournament, they did severe damage to anything there. This week, when they put a resume out there, this is optimistic that the Canes will even be in a position where they're talking about them in this context. But if they do, these are 3 bad losses. They put those resumes up there like bad losses. We just picked up 3. And that's not,
Yep.
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think we look slow because we don't know what we're doing. You don't look athletic.
We lost to Drake, who had a bunch of D2 transfers.
Yeah, and I think athleticism, we talked a little bit about, this with Blackman's defense, but athleticism shows up when you're comfortable and confident, and it does not show up when you're hesitating on everything, and that's where we're at. So,
yep.
And yes, a lot of that is, anytime when and this is like the catch-22, right? The more we experiment to try and get it right, that's just more unfamiliarity for these guys that haven't played together. So. We saw that today, right? He put a bunch of experimental lineups out there, and they looked out of sync, and frankly, kind of ended the competitive phase of the game when he did it in the second half. But then we're also saying, well, you got to try something different. So I think we all need to mentally prepare ourselves as we're all going to sit here and offer, well, we need to try this, or we need to solution it that way. And it is very possible that with the current collection of players, and where we're at right now, that there is no solution amongst this team that's actually going to make them a good team. And I think we all need to start to, mentally prepare for that possibility. as we are, like, oh well, if we could try this player at this position and that player at that position, we might just be rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic here a little bit. On that optimistic note, you got anything else you want to talk about here, Matt? Should we end on a high note like that? Well, anyway, just to recap.
Well, the Mighty Barons won their game
right.
yesterday. We
Nice.
won by 12 against Riverside Poly. So that was a good game. One of our guys went off for 37 points.
And they have a Stanford commit, right, on their team?
No, he's not he got offered by Stanford and then a few other schools. Yeah. He was a good player.
Could be a future opponent of Matt Quintella. Coach out scout him and get the defense set up for a couple of years down the road here.
There we go. So that was positive. So we can end on that.
Yeah, let's end on that. We'll do a little bit of so again, the women. If you're in South Florida, there is a weekend full of basketball coming up at the Watt. The women play Friday at noon against Charlotte to kick off their Thanksgiving tournament. They host every Thanksgiving. The men play Saturday right now it's scheduled for 2:00 against Charleston Southern. Now, historically, when they do play Thanksgiving Saturday, but historically when that collides with the football game, they move the tip time. So please, if you're planning on heading out to the arena, look out. I would be pretty surprised if we don't get an announcement coming out that game is at noon instead too, so it doesn't run at the same time as the football game in Syracuse. And then the women will play the last game of the tournament, whether they win or lose on Friday. They will play 2:30 on Sunday, which is hopefully the winner's game and not the loser's game. But since we're the host school, we just put the time. So sometimes the third place game would be in the ideal time spot, just because want to get people out to the arena to watch us play. So, but that shouldn't be an issue with this team. But so that's coming out this weekend, and then we've got the ACC SEC Challenge the following week. The men host Arkansas and the women host Vanderbilt. So that is all coming up in the next 10 days. We should have a buckets at some point, Matt? Question mark. We'll
some point
check your local listings.
Yes, check your local listings
for that. Obviously, it's the holidays, but we will squeeze it in. If we don't have a buckets before Thursday, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. If you're in Miami, head out to the Watt next weekend, and yes, even the men need love too. So support your teams and get out there, and
there you go.
Yeah, maybe they can turn this thing around.
Maybe.
I should probably do the rest of this. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, 8:30, we have Six Rings Canes. We're going to preview the. If you've heard the Canes football team, that's kind of a big game on Saturday. So the fate of the universe is going to be decided over those 3 hours. So including some of us that bought tickets in Charlotte already. So let's go Canes football. We got Six Rings Canes tomorrow at 8:30. We're going to preview that. We also did a post game show this morning. We'll try to get a buckets in at some point in the next whatever, definitely before the ACC SEC Challenge games. And stay tuned to the network for that. Follow us on at buckets_Canes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is 5 Reasons Sports, and also search for 5 Reasons Canes wherever you get your podcasts to get this in an audio format. Matt, I don't know if this
it is time. A very somber cue the socks outro.
Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.